This is Charles and Linda with Committed Christian Couple. Today we want to talk about money in marriage. Just the other day, for the 21st time, I guess actually no longer, for the 24th time, did our taxes together. An interesting thing was, you know that feeling you get when you're going over your money and sometimes it's just a little tenseness or a little apprehension? Well, I think we experienced it again, did we not?
I think so.
So at least we agreed. But it goes back to that old adage about money in marriage and divorce rates and just how crazy it is, and that we allow it to basically become this wedge between us and push us apart. And that's not what God ever intended money or our finances to be. But we've allowed it to become this issue where we stop talking to one another, or we get this pent up hostility or aggression towards one another. So we just thought we would talk about money and finances, and at least what we think our roles are compared to what God's Word tells us, and those types of things. So
Yeah, and actually in the Bible, there's over 2,300 verses on money, whereas 500 on prayer, 500 on faith, but over 2,300 on money. So that should tell us all a lot about what God has to say about money.
yeah, if he said that much about it, it must be pretty serious. So I was just going through some things, and I came to Luke 14:28 through 30, and it says, "Suppose one of you wants to build a tower, will he not first sit down and estimate the cost to see if he has enough money to complete it? For if he lays the foundation and is not able to finish it, everyone who sees it will ridicule him, saying, 'This fellow began to build and was not able to finish.'" Now, let's be clear. I don't want to take this out of context, but I will a little bit, because I think this verse is really talking about becoming a disciple. However, there is application in our marriages in that we do need to count the costs. We need to look at our finances and really understand the role that they play, not just buy things on a whim or buy things on credit. And if I'm being a good leader, if I'm being a good husband, I need to look beyond tomorrow and next week, even next year. I need to have my plans together in terms of where am I going to lead my family. That doesn't mean I just lead in isolation. I don't run out and decide that I'm going to buy a brand new truck and the family's going to like it. I need to evaluate their needs. I need to evaluate where we are versus where we want to be tomorrow, and take my wife, my son, my daughter into consideration for those plans. And that's actually a pretty large task. It doesn't just happen overnight. It doesn't happen on a whim. It does mean that I need to be intentional with my decisions, and I need to be, decidedly determined to make sure that, maybe I need to actually sacrifice some of the things I want. Maybe I don't go buy the brand new 2012 Dodge pickup because I need to, take care of my wife's vehicle. I need to fund my son's school. I need to buy my daughter, whatever it's going to be. So maybe there's sometimes I need to make a sacrifice in lieu of what's better, which would be something for the wife, my son, my daughter. Or all that aside, maybe just means that I'm paying my bills.
Yeah, and I think a big thing is communication. So along with that is communication, is prayer, just to think about and consider what are needs and what are wants. Maybe even counsel. Having a multitude of counsel or just people that you can talk to and discuss with will definitely help, especially for big ticket items like a car, a house, even in education. But definitely, just that communication is what's key.
Proverbs 24:3 through 4 says, "By wisdom a house is built, and through understanding it is established. Through knowledge its rooms are filled with rare and beautiful treasures." Guys, again, I'm just talking to husbands, but by wisdom a house is built, and through understanding it's established. And those beautiful treasures, I think, again, taking out of context, but still I can make application. Those treasures are our families. Our wives, our sons, our daughters, aunts and uncles, whoever we need to provide and take care of. And again, this thing about finances, Linda just hit it correctly on the head with communication. I don't think we can talk enough about finances. Even in our own, again, we've been doing our finances together for a long time. It used to be that we would look back over the last 7 days in terms of what our expenses had been, just to make sure that we weren't going over budget, and then looking ahead the next 30 days. And that really meant for a lot of redundancy, because that meant we were covering the same 3 weeks and adding an additional week. But it was surprising when we did that. I guess it wasn't surprising, but when we started to do that, the communication about our finances seemed to be a lot easier, a lot softer. There weren't any surprises, especially with that darned auto insurance that we paid 7 months out of each year on, and then all of a sudden you were hit by that bill again. It just gave us a lot of visibility, and the fact that we were talking about it so often reduced a lot of the anxiety. And if you're not doing that and you're experiencing some issues, maybe that's somewhere to start. Is coming to the table, planning out an hour on a Saturday or a Friday or whatever day works for you, husband or wife, and just going through what you have in the bank and what lays on the horizon in terms of what you're going to be spending. And then talking about goals, talking about vacation, talking about new purchases, whatever it may be. And then putting it on a calendar so that you can see it and talking about it often.
Right. And also when you do that, to both come prayed up, pray beforehand. And then also, during, if you feel it's getting tense, take a time out. We all need time out sometimes. But just realizing that you're in it together. This is something you need to do. If you don't talk about it, that's when the problems and the issues arrive. That's when fingers start pointing. And that may even happen initially when you do sit down and go through stuff. But you know what? If you are there with the right mind, the right heart, just realize that you're in it together and you can get through it together.
I'm blessed to have such a wife that actually thinks about that, because she often brings to me about praying first. And, I kick myself every time, but that's a great point, because without praying first, I knew I used to come to the table, the finance table, loaded for bear to defend all my decisions and really to attack if something got put down. And then when I would pray, when we would stop and pray ahead of time, it just seemed like there was no need to defend anymore. It was both of us sitting on the same side of the table in tandem as a team, looking at our finances, and then realizing that there was proper allocation, and it wasn't about me trying to defend or trying to attack, but work together so that we were moving in the same direction.
And at the end of the day, it's only money. I mean, you still have each other.
Absolutely. And that's what's better, what's most important. Your dollars or your marriage. Hopefully it's our marriages, but I guess the world is telling us right now by divorce rates that a lot of us have it focused in the wrong direction, which is interesting. In preparation for this quick video, we were looking at divorce rates, and I was just blown away. I knew it was high, and we've heard things as much as 50% here or 52%, which is still mind-boggling. That means out of every 2 marriages, one's failing. We live in California, and there was a website that said it's 75%. I think that's a little drastic, and I just can't. I pray it's not that high, but man, regardless, that's just still bad, and especially if we're allowing something as stupid as our money to come between us. I just can't. I don't understand it. Anyway, one last verse. It's Luke 6:48. He is like a man building a house who dug down deep and laid the foundation on rock. When a flood came, the torrent struck that house, but could not shake it because it was well built. Again, I just go right back to our finances. We can plug anything in, but let's talk specifically on our finances. If we do take the time to plan, and we do build on a solid foundation, not on sand, doesn't mean that the trials and tribulations aren't going to come. But when they do come, we'll be better prepared for them. We'll be able to withstand. And if we approach it with the right mindset, again, praying for one another, praying with each other, communicating deeper, we stand back to back and can take on that fight. So we just share this with you. We know finances aren't easy, and in a lot of ways can be very distracting and destructive, but that's not what it was ever intended to be. So we'd like to hear from you. We'd like to have your comments, maybe even your videos, whatever you're comfortable with. But see, one thing I look at is, and I think both of us agree, the reason we do these videos is that there are couples all across this country, even this world, who daily go through the same struggles and the same battles. Why don't we share these things and talk to one another about them? Because you might just have that one nugget that will help us. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm selfish. I want those nuggets. I don't want to miss any of them. So
we hope to hear from you. Leave a comment. Go to our YouTube channel and post a video reply. That would be awesome so we could see you too. But this is Linda and Charles with CommittedChristianCouple.com.
take care. God bless.
God bless.